Very good morning, students. Now in this short video I am going to tell you about the Hiltons law of no supply to a joint. During your classes on the general anatomy you must have learned about this Hiltons law. Okay, this was a part of the chapter of general anatomy on the joints. Okay, now this is the law which tells us about the nerve supply to the joint, and the same nerve will also supply to the skin which is covering to the joint, as well as to the muscles which are acting onto this joint, which has a great significance. Okay, now moving to the next slide where I will define the Hilton's law. Now, this is the Hilton's law. Before we come to the Hilton's law, let us see this adjacent diagram. In this diagram, there is a joint is shown. These are the articulating bone which are joined with each other with this green color capsule. So this is the capsule where the pointer is moving is the capsule of the joint. In the similar way, there will be the ligaments of the joints will be also there. Then these are the muscles, and these are the muscles of one group. Say for example, if it is a flexor muscle, the opposite muscles are the extensor. The other muscles will also be there, abductor or adductor or rotator. Just imagine that a joint is surrounded by not only the structure of a synovial joint, a capsule and ligament, synovial membrane, but this joint is always also surrounded by the various types of the muscles which will have the action on that. In this joint, see the nerve. This is nerve on one surface and this is the nerve onto the other surface. You can see the nerve which is supplying to the capsule. The same nerve will be also supplying to the ligament. It will be also supplying to the synovial membrane. In short, you can say that the nerve it is supplying to the joint, whether it is a flexor nerve or the extensor. That means it is, say for example, it may be the median nerve, or it may be the radial nerve, or it may be the part of the ulnar nerve or the nerve there in the elbow joint. Suppose if so multiple nerve they will supply to a joint. So in this way you can see that nerves are supplying to the joint. The same nerve, just trace the nerve, the same nerve is also giving a branch to the skin which is covering to the joint or overlying the joint, and the same nerve is also sending the motor fibers to the muscle. So the nerve is a mixed nerve which sends the sensory fibers to the skin, it sends the sensory fibers to the capsule, ligaments and to the synovial membrane of the joint, and the same nerve is also sending the motor fibers to the muscle. This is the other nerve which is also having the motor innervation of the muscle. It has a cutaneous innervation to the skin, and it has the innervation to the joint. Okay, so you have seen that the nerve which is close to the joint will have the innervation to the muscle, to the skin and to the joint. Now let us come to what is the Hilton's law. Now this law states that the nerve which is supplying the sensory fiber to the capsule of the joint, not only to the capsule but to the ligament and to the synovial membrane of the joint, will also supply to the motor fibers to the muscle acting on the same joint. Okay, the same nerve will send the fibers to the skeletal muscles which are acting on that joint, and the same nerve will also send sensory fiber to the skin over the same joint. Okay, to the skin over to the same joint. That means this nerve which is supplying to the joint is also supplying to the skin. Both are sensory fiber. That means if something is wrong in the joint, what may be the wrong in the joint? It may be excessive stretch of the joint capsule, or it may be the inflammation of the joint or disease of the joint. Okay, and this will lead to the pain, and this pain of the joint which is deeply situated in the limb will be referred to the skin, and skin is covering to the joint. That means the pathological pain which is there in a joint will be referred to that. That means patient will not only feel the pain inside the joint, but will also feel the pain on the surface of the joint, that is on the skin. That it means, okay, it means. Let's go to the next slide where we will see what will happen to the muscles. Now, how this type of the nerve supply, that is two sensory nerve supply, skin and to the joint, will be helpful in this, I mean to say, in the during the disease or during the excessive stretch of the joint capsule. So this, what is the utility of this type of the nerve supply? Why this nerve, the same nerve is supplying to the three different structures at the same time while it is crossing to a joint? So how this type of the nerve supply help to protect the joint? This helps to protect the joint in case if joint is excessively stretched. Okay, when the movement is excessive movement, then we start feeling the pain. And in second condition, if joint is injured, for example, we may get the sprain where ligaments are injured or the capsule is overstretched and injured, or in case of disease like osteoarthritis disease, any inflammatory disease of the joint is always painful. Okay, so there may be many conditions in which the joint can be painful. When this joint become painful, it is referred to the skin. Not only referred to the skin, then this pain of the joint ultimately lead to the contraction, reflex contraction. It leads to the reflex, automatic contraction. You are not making any contraction when you are feeling the pain in your joint, but it will lead to the reflex contraction of these skeletal muscle. So the joint is kept in such a way that in such a position that the patient feels the maximum comfort. That is the utility of the nerve supply to a joint and to the adjacent muscle and to the skin, that you keep your joint in the maximum comfortable position so that you feel the less pain during the sprain or during the injury or during the osteoarthritis disease. So this is the utility of the Hiltons law. This is an important law, not only because it is, helpful in understanding the clinical condition, but it is important because it is mostly asked as a short note. So thank you very much for watching this short video on to the Hiltons law.